Welcome to another episode of the Digital Marketing Masters podcast. I am Yolanda Rose, digital marketer, and every week I bring you easy, actionable tips, content, and strategies that you can use to grow your business online almost immediately. Now, if you haven't reached out on social media, please do. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Snapchat, and I'm on TikTok as well. So look out for me. It's Yolanda Rose. And also be visiting our website regularly. Lots of new crazy content happening there as well. It's www.yolandarose.com. So today on the show, I spoke to Julia Boucher. And Julia is an SEO and a Pinterest consultant for creative businesses. And her goal is to make SEO and Pinterest strategies approachable and easy to implement for small business owners like you so you can reach your ideal client organically. Now, I spoke to Julia on the show. I spoke to her a couple of days ago, actually, and she gave us some easy Pinterest strategies that small business owners in the creative space can be using to grow their reach organically. She gave us some really simple, easy to use points that we can start implementing. So let's jump into that interview with Julia. But before we go into that, I want to introduce a new feature on the show. It's called TikTok Tuesdays. So catch us tomorrow. If you subscribe to the show, you obviously going to get a notification. And if it's the first time you're listening, please subscribe. Every Tuesday, we're going to give you bite-sized TikTok strategies. So tune in for that. Really exciting. Lots of new things happening on TikTok that I want to share with you. So join us tomorrow for TikTok Tuesday. And now, into that interview we go with Julia on Pinterest. So, Julia, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Now, Julia, you are an SEO and a Pinterest consultant, and you have your own business, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my business is Julia Renee Consulting. I do SEO and Pinterest because Pinterest is actually a search engine. So there's a lot of overlap between like trying to rank well in Google and trying to rank well in Pinterest. And I work with small creative businesses to really, reach their ideal clients and increase their organic traffic.
Okay, I'm really glad to have you on the show because I've personally been struggling with Pinterest. I've been hearing here and there, a couple of other podcasts and even reading a bit, but I've had difficulty wrapping my head around an actual strategy that I could use for my e-commerce businesses and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
tell us, why Pinterest? Is it something that we should be actively pursuing as business owners?
Yeah, I think it's really great for business owners. I've seen a variety of businesses do really well on Pinterest. And the biggest thing that I love about Pinterest is that it can give you some really great organic traffic and leads for like months to years to come for, just a pin that you pin tomorrow. Things like Facebook and Twitter. I think Twitter links last like 6 hours or something. Facebook's like 24 hours.
Mhm.
But pins on Pinterest can last for months to years to come.
Wow.
So if you just start working on it today, you could really reap in the benefits like 6 months from now. So it can be a really great source of traffic. And then, like I said, also leads because people use Pinterest just like they would for Google. They're going to be searching for things. So if you are able to give them the content that they're searching for or the services or products that they're searching for, they're much more likely to hire you or purchase your products than like if they just happen to be following you on Instagram and think that you have like pretty photos or something.
Okay. So for our listeners that have been living under a rock, please break it down for us. So what exactly is Pinterest? And how do you use it? And why would
Mhm.
we be using it? Is it just like Facebook, LinkedIn? Just to give us a brief working knowledge on how it would work.
Yeah, so Pinterest is technically a search engine,
Yes.
but it does have some different strategies than like you would use for Google, and it does have like some social media qualities.
Mhm.
So you can have followers. The followers really don't matter like they do on Instagram. Like it's kind of because it's a search engine. If you're able to create great quality content that people are searching for, you're going to get lots of traffic. So followers don't really matter as much anymore. They did try hashtags at one point, but that kind of doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Um, but basically, the way that you use Pinterest is you need to have some kind of content or products. You can use podcast episodes. You need to have something to pin.
Yeah.
if you just like try pinning your homepage or your about or services pages or something like that, they're really not going to perform well, because people are looking for content or, products. So this can be blog posts, podcast episodes, if you have any kind of products or freebies, courses. It can be kind of like any kind of content that you have. So what you do is you'll take the link to that content and then you'll create what's called a pin. So you've probably seen them before. It's just like a vertical, image, and then you can add a text overlay because those are more eye-catching and they can perform much better than just like a simple, photo on Pinterest.
Okay.
So you'll create these pins, and then the main thing with Pinterest is that you do need to be active every day pinning. So there is a scheduler called Tailwind that will take care of all of that for you. So you don't need to be manually in Pinterest every day. So once you kind of fill out your scheduler, you can also just leave it. Like you don't have to worry about engaging with other accounts or like following people or commenting on pins or anything like that. It's kind of just, set it and forget it kind of thing.
That's
Do you
that's
recommend?
ideal for small business owners because
Yeah.
so much going on in your head. How do you keep track of another platform?
Yeah. It's really nice because, you can just spend like an hour or two a month just
Mm-hmm.
getting things scheduled out. Checking, I do recommend checking your analytics and make sure things are performing well and, checking different like pin designs and stuff. So don't completely forget about it. But it is a lot less work than if you're active on Instagram, you need to be engaging and doing Instagram stories and all these things every single day. I think it's a lot less work and you get a lot more benefits in my opinion.
Okay, with Pinterest. So there's so many platforms for business owners from Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, and every other month there's a platform that we as business owners, we just jump on the bandwagon hoping to generate leads and sales. How do we
Mhm.
as business owners assess whether Pinterest is a viable option for us?
Yeah, so it's really great for a lot of businesses, but not every business is going to do great on Pinterest. So pretty much any online type of business is going to do really well, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of businesses that are local businesses but and only for their local audience, so like a dry cleaners or something like that, they're not going to do great on Pinterest because people aren't really going to Pinterest to look for like a dentist or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure if your business could do well on Pinterest, I would recommend kind of searching on Pinterest for related content or related businesses or things like that. You can also check to see if people are already pinning things from your website.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into Pinterest, you can type in pinterest.com/source/ and then your website URL. And then it's going to show you all of the pins that anyone has ever pinned from your site.
Okay.
So if that just sounded like gibberish, for example, my link would be pinterest.com/source/JuliaReneeConsulting.com. And that's going to show all of the pins that have ever been, pinned from my website. So that can be a really good indicator that, if people are already pinning for you, then you should be pinning things from your site as well.
Okay, cool. While I'm checking you, I'm just checking one of my brands very quickly just to see how this works. How do we start? How do we get started? I mean, if we eventually do 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 our due diligence, how do we
Mhm.
get started with basic Pinterest strategies? Because for me, what I do right now is I go
Yeah,
into a
so the
tool
main
like,
thing is definitely to be pinning every
yes,
day.
okay.
So, you kind of just have to get started with creating pins for the content that you have.
So how do
And
you go
Pinterest.
about creating the pin?
Mhm. Yeah, so there is a free app called Canva, and
Yes.
it has like Pinterest templates in there for you. If you don't have Canva, I personally use Photoshop because I have a photography background and that's just
Okay.
what I'm used to. But basically, what I recommend doing is taking some kind of vertical image and then adding a text overlay with like the title of your blog post or whatever it is. Um, because again, that's going to be a lot more eye-catching than just like a regular horizontal image. So after you and this if you have like physical products or if you're a photographer or something like that, you definitely want to be pinning just standalone images as well, because those perform really well. But if you're like an online service provider, so like my blog posts, I'll just have like screenshots of, like Pinterest analytics or like stock photos or something like that. I'm not going to pin those from my blog post because they don't really say anything about what my blog post is about. But I will create, graphics to use on Pinterest. And I do recommend creating a few different graphics for each of your, blog post or podcast episode, whatever your content is, because Pinterest is valuing new, fresh content right now. So I still recommend you can go in and repin your past content, and that
Okay,
does
so
give
you
it,
put in some fresh pins, right, and redesign
Mhm.
the basic cover image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this can be like switching up your fonts, switching up like whatever the background image is. Maybe, if you have like a really long title, you could like kind of play around with it and try a few different like shortened versions for the pin graphic. There are lots of different ways that you can you don't have to, make it really hard on yourself. You can still have the basic template that you use and just kind of like switch it up to make it look like a new image for Pinterest.
Okay. All right, cool. So, I mean, we start with the graphics bit, but how do we start ramping things up when it comes
Mhm.
to the strategy? What additional strategies we can use to generate leads and, build our following and drive traffic to our websites using Pinterest?
Yeah, so this is where the overlap with SEO and Pinterest really comes into play, because
Okay.
you want to be doing keyword research to make sure that your pins can rank well, that you're creating content or using keywords that people are actually searching for. There isn't a great keyword research tool for Pinterest right now. They did come out a few months ago with something called Pinterest Trends.
Okay.
It's kind of like a keyword research tool, but they really don't have that much data. So like most of the content that I'm creating, I can't find any information on, the keyword
So, how would you
data.
use Pinterest trends?
So they do have some industries on there. I think they will get better, but so you can kind of test it out to see if they have any information. But like they have, I noticed that they do have a lot of information for like websites related to food or recipes. But
Mhm.
like when I'm searching for like SEO tips or even like Pinterest tips, they don't have any data on that, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So I think they will improve because again, this is a
it's a new
new
tool.
tool. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're in Pinterest itself, you can, like, if you start typing things in, it's going to auto populate with some suggestions. So that's a really good way of, doing some keyword research to see what other people have searched for. And then kind of once you have searched for something, they're going to show you even more recommendations like at a toolbar at the top. So that it's a little more manual to do keyword research. You're not going to get great data like if you are doing keyword research for SEO.
Yeah.
But that is a way that you can do it. You can also just do keyword research. Like if you're creating blog posts and you want to optimize your blog post, I would just recommend doing keyword research for, Google, and then just taking that information and applying it to Pinterest as well. Because, people are using Pinterest to search for similar things. So that way you don't have to do like double keyword research.
Okay, cool. So when somebody's searching on Google for whatever topic, the pins do show up, right?
Yeah,
D-
it
I
happens a
mean,
lot.
when it comes to the algorithm and Pinterest algorithm or the Google algorithm, does Pinterest rank higher than something that would show up on the lower level of a Google search?
Yeah, it can happen, especially like in Google Images as well.
Yeah.
I've seen this. I was actually working with a copywriter recently I was optimizing her site and I was trying to do some keyword research for like a blog post that she had created related to copywriting. And when I was doing keyword research for it, I think 6 out of the top 10 spots on the first page of Google were all actually Pinterest links instead of like blog
Mhm.
posts or something. So pins can rank really well in Google. I'm not entirely sure why Google will rank them, but it could be because the pin itself has some really great keywords in it. It's probably been saved a lot of times by a lot of different people, so it's getting some really good traction in Pinterest. And maybe that pin is doing better than like a blog post that maybe is similar. So that could be why Google ranks pins well. But that is, a reason why doing keyword research is important for Pinterest. So that
Mhm.
way you can rank well in both Pinterest and Google.
Okay, cool. So how do you rank in Pinterest? Is that a thing? Like how you would rank on Google, can you rank on Pinterest, or how do you create a greater following on Pinterest?
Yeah, so you don't really get like the number one spot on Pinterest.
Okay,
Like there isn't, that
in
kind of
Google.
hierarchy like in
Yeah.
Google. But you will climb in the rankings with time. It's kind of the same thing with Google. Like you do need to give it a few months before you start seeing results. So you will climb in the rankings. It has a lot to do with, what people are searching for, what the competition is, what keywords you're targeting, and how much traction your pin has gained. So typically, if a lot of people are saving your pin, they're clicking through, they're, maybe even leaving comments or something like that. That is going to, increase the pin's ranking rather than something that you just create tomorrow and no
Mhm.
one has, seen it yet.
Okay. So how do we use the content that we've created, whatever content that it may be? How do we use that to reach clients on Pinterest?
Yeah, so definitely make sure that you're doing keyword research so that way you are, using
Yeah.
keywords that your ideal clients would be searching for. If you are a more local business, like I work with a lot of people in the wedding industry, and,
Hmm.
obviously someone here in Philadelphia doesn't really want to be, found by someone like, in France or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you are a more local business or you're trying to attract more, local clients, you do want to make sure that you're creating content for those clients and that you're using the locations in your pin description or your pin title or something, because you can get some local clients that way, especially in the wedding industry. A lot of people use Pinterest to plan their weddings.
Okay.
um, so yeah, kind of once you have done your keyword research, make sure that you've created some great pin designs for it, and you also want to make sure that your profile is set up to kind of show what your business is about. You really only want to be pinning things that are related to your business or your industry or something like that. So like for example, I pin about SEO and Pinterest and marketing and that kind of thing, but I actually love using Pinterest for recipes. So what
Okay.
I do is I create secret boards so that way I can still, use Pinterest for more personal things, but that way, the public doesn't see, all the crazy recipes that I've been pinning.
Yeah.
So my Pinterest profile is really a reflection of my business. So that way, maybe someone clicks on my pin or they see, my profile and they click through. They know exactly what my business is about. They can see my, profile picture. They know who I am. They see, my website and the types of content that, I create. It's a really good way to kind of like have a reflection of what your business is about. So that way, if someone is interested in the type of services that you have, they know whether or not you're the person for them. But if I did save all of my recipes to public boards and they go to my profile and they see my business name, but then they see all these recipes, it's probably going to be really confusing about,
Yeah.
what my business is and like what types of content I create or the services that I have. So you just really want to make sure it's like cohesive and everything is on brand.
Okay. So tell me about boards. How do we effectively use that to attract the right kind of audience?
So it kind of goes back to keyword research.
Uh-huh.
So you do want to make sure that your boards are, optimized with some like strong keywords. So for example, like for, I think I have a board that says something like SEO optimization tips for small businesses. So
Mm.
that is going to be a lot stronger and a lot clearer to Pinterest and people searching for this information than if I just titled it SEO or like just digital marketing.
Yeah.
So you do want to make sure that your board titles and the descriptions are very clear. I also recommend having at least one board that only has your content. So you can just, title it something like your business name, and if it's blog posts or podcast episodes or products or whatever it is. So that way, if someone goes to your profile, they know exactly which content is yours. So if you are pinning, related content that isn't yours to kind of build up your profile or whatever it is, um, they can tell which content is yours and your links rather than someone else's blog post. And then it doesn't really matter how many boards that you have. I do recommend starting with just a few and then building it up over time, because a
Okay.
lot of times I'll see that people, they'll start with 20 boards, but then they don't have enough pins to start filling them up. So they might have one board that has like 30 pins and it looks, really robust, but then they have a board that has like 2 pins and it, just looks empty and kind of sad. So you want to make sure that like everything just looks professional and cohesive. So make sure that you just start with a few boards to begin with,
Okay.
and then you can add on more over time as you have the content for them.
Okay. All right, cool. So you mentioned the tool a little earlier, Tailwind. That was for
Hmm.
keyword,
For scheduling.
for
Hmm.
scheduling. Tell us a little bit
Hmm.
about that and how does that work?
Yeah, so Tailwind is a partner with Pinterest. So they, Pinterest recommends them. So it's really like the only Pinterest scheduling tool that anyone uses. And they do create a lot of, content with Pinterest. So they really know, what's going on, any algorithm changes, they're on top of things like that. So it is a scheduler. So what you do is that you can create your pins. If you want to, schedule out pins from other, your friends or other businesses that you want to like help support. Again, make sure that it's all kind of within your industry, or, don't be pinning random things. So you just go in and it's really easy. Tailwind already they have like a automatic schedule. You can change it if you want to have, more pins or fewer pins
Mhm.
go out each day, or if you want to
Okay.
change the times. But if you want to you don't care what the schedule is, you let Tailwind take it over. So basically you just go in and you can create pins in there. So you'll add the pin image and then description, title, and all of that. And then Tailwind will automatically post it at the time that either you choose or you let Tailwind choose. So you can go in, I think for one of my accounts, I have like 200 pins scheduled. So that
Wow.
way I don't have to touch it
Yeah.
for like, 2 months pretty
Okay.
much. So you can, yeah, I know people who have like, I think you can schedule up to like 6 months in advance or something.
Wow. Is
So
this a
if you
free tool?
really, so they do have a free account, and then you can upgrade and get more features, and it's only
Mhm.
like $15 a month.
Okay.
And then I can also, if you want to add like I have an affiliate link that you can post in the
Okay,
show notes or
definitely. Yeah.
something, and
We'll
that way
definitely look that
people
up.
can get, yeah, that way people can get an additional month for free.
Okay.
Um, so that's a great perk. And then if you share, you can create your own link and then share it with your friends, and then you can get even more months for free.
Yeah.
So I do think it's definitely worth the $15 a month if that's something that you're interested in, because again, I don't have to worry about like creating pins or scheduling anything for a few months. I can just let Tailwind do its thing and take care of all the scheduling for me.
Well, of course, it's all about automation these days anyway. So
Yeah.
it's definitely the tool to be using.
Hmm.
Julia, I wanted to ask you, a lot of small business owners are using tools like WordPress.
Hmm.
What plugins or can we use to enhance the Pinterest experience for us?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There are a lot of plugins. I can't remember exactly which one I use, but a lot of just social sharing plugins that are really
Yeah.
helpful. So that way you can encourage people to share it. There are also Google Chrome extensions for both Pinterest and Tailwind. So that makes it
Okay.
really easy on you. So if you are a photographer, if you have products or something like that, and you have a lot of images on one page, you can just press the Tailwind button, and then it'll pull up all the pictures, and you can choose which ones that you want to schedule out. So that way you don't have to individually load every single picture up in Tailwind. And then I do recommend after you have a pin that you've created and it's been posted on Pinterest, you can actually embed that pin into your blog posts. So that way it'll encourage people to pin the pin that you've already created. And then all you have to do is, if you're in WordPress, I'm not too sure about like Squarespace or something like that, but I
Okay.
use WordPress, and this is how you do it. You just copy the link to the pin, and then you just paste it into that blog post in WordPress, and it will automatically take care of the embedding information for you. So it's really easy. And that way, when people see that there's already a pin created, they don't have to do any extra steps. They can
Okay.
just literally click on the board that they want it to go to, and it makes it really easy for them.
I'm actually using a tool called Pin It. And what I do
Mhm.
is I'll create the Pinterest graphic either on Spark or on Canva, and I will
Mhm.
input it, I embed it into the post. It's actually my podcast post, and then I just click the pin button, and it links to the board. Well, I can choose whichever board it goes. I don't know. Am I doing it in reverse? Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different plugins and tools that you can use. This is
Yeah.
just kind of like my method for doing it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I know people who also do the thing where you like hide photos, and that way when people click on their like pin button on the Google Chrome extension, it'll pull up all these pictures that aren't taking up space in the blog post.
Yeah.
So there are lots of different ways that you can do. It's kind of just like what you want to do and what
Yeah.
plugins that you have.
Okay. All right, cool. So this was so valuable, Julia. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We're gonna put in the your Tailwind affiliate in our show notes, so our listeners that are keen on getting their hands on that, and also help you grow your affiliate as well. Thank you so much for your time. I definitely need to have you back. So many questions to ask you about Pinterest. I really need to get cracking on it.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to message or email me. I am happy to answer any Pinterest questions. As you can tell, I can talk about it all day long.
So if our listeners want to reach out to you, how can they?
Yeah, my email is julia@juliareneeconsulting.com. My website is also juliareneeconsulting.com. And then you can find me on Instagram and Pinterest at Julia Renee Consulting. So everything's the same.
Yeah, so cool. All right, Julia, thank you so much. This has been so helpful. Hopefully I can get my Pinterest game going soon as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
So that was my interview with Julia. Her details are in the show notes. So if you want to link up with Julia to get your Pinterest strategy going, so you can do that. Reach out to her and let her know how she has been of value to you on this podcast. So talk to you tomorrow on TikTok Tuesday, and have a good one.